Imagine waking up in complete darkness, your body feeling like it's made of vibrating air and jello, only to realize you have a canoe oar shoved down your throat. That is exactly how Jack Jr. re-enters the world after a 2-year coma. He's confused, he's terrified, and the first thing he sees isn't the love of his life, Ren, but a frantic male nurse named Emil Cuddy, who keeps screaming, "Holy fuck!" because apparently Jack wasn't supposed to wake up. Right off the bat, we are dealing with a main character who is physically broken, skull fractured, spine nearly severed, left leg reattached, but his emotional state is even messier. Jack is 28, or he thinks he is, until he realizes he's actually 30 now, and the last thing he remembers is a romantic getaway in 2019 with his fiancée, Ren. He assumes he's in Manhattan, but nope, he's in New Jersey, the place he spent his entire adult life running away from. We quickly learn that Jack Jr. is the kind of guy who deflects trauma with sarcasm. He's desperate for Ren, asking for him constantly, but everyone, Nurse Emil, his doctors, and eventually his parents, gets weirdly dodgy whenever Ren's name comes up. That is a massive red flag waving right in our faces. When his parents, Appa and Uma, finally arrive, it's a tearjerker, but it's also awkward. There's a lot of unspoken baggage here. We learn that Jack drove his car off a cliff into the Hudson River. Nobody knows why. Was it an accident? Was it suicide? Jack doesn't remember a thing, which is honestly terrifying. Fast forward a few weeks, and Jack is discharged. He's not going back to his Cheek City life because that life is gone. His apartment is gone, his job is gone, and Ren is still MIA. Instead, he's moving back into his childhood bedroom in Fort Lee with his dad. He gets picked up in a beat-up van that smells like fish, driven by his dad and his teenage nephew, Juno. Juno is hilarious. He calls his grandfather H-Man and is basically the Gen Z comic relief we desperately need in this heavy situation. They stop at the family restaurant, Yoha, a sushi spot Appa has run for decades. It's emotional because this place is the heart of the family, but it's also where the trauma lives. Jack sees his brother James and James's wife Noah. The tension between the brothers is thick enough to cut with a yanagi knife. James is a recovering alcoholic with a lot of resentment, and he looks at Jack like he's a ghost he wishes had stayed dead. Then, the hammer drops. While driving back from a fish run, a grueling 4 a.m. trip to the fish market that Jack used to do as a kid, Appa finally spills the tea about Ren. It turns out Ren didn't abandon Jack immediately. He visited every day for a year. He paid Jack's bills, and he kept the faith. But eventually the doctors said Jack was never waking up. So Ren moved on. He got married. Jack has to sit there in the van digesting the fact that the love of his life mourned him and started a whole new chapter while Jack was just frozen in time. It is absolutely gut-wrenching. You just want to hug the guy, but he holds it together because that's what his family does. They repress everything. Jack starts working at the restaurant because he has nothing else to do. He finds a rhythm in the kitchen, slicing fish, making rice. It's muscle memory. He bonds with Juno, who is struggling with school and a chemistry project involving making a clear ice lens, which becomes a whole bonding subplot. Jack also hires a quirky teenager named Zeno, who wants to be a chef, mostly because he needs an ally against the overwhelming silence of his family. But the real spark comes from Emil Cuddy, the nurse. They start texting. Emil is sweet, awkward, and obsessed with theater. They go on a date that involves eating pizza in Emil's basement apartment and reading plays together. It's incredibly wholesome until they hook up, and Jack has a panic attack because he's still grieving his past life. It's messy, but it feels real. You can see Jack trying to figure out if he's allowed to be happy when he feels like he's living a posthumous existence. Meanwhile, Juno starts filming Jack working at the restaurant and posting it on TikTok under the username Fish Daddy. Because of course, the internet loves a tragic, handsome sushi chef. The videos go viral, like millions of views viral. Juno even sets up a donation page, and strangers start sending thousands of dollars to help the struggling restaurant. This seems like a huge win, right? Wrong. This is a massive ticking time bomb because Appa is a proud traditional Korean father who would rather die than accept charity. The tension explodes on a Sunday. Jack tries to bridge the gap with his brother James, attending an AA meeting or waiting outside and trying to bond. It goes okay, but the underlying resentment is still simmering. We find out James feels like a failure because he had Juno so young and struggled with addiction, while Jack was the golden child who escaped to the city. The irony, of course, is that Jack is now back at square one. Things come to a head during a family dinner at the restaurant. A customer recognizes Jack from TikTok and mentions the donation money. The secret is out. Appa is furious. He feels humiliated that his grandson begged strangers for money. James is furious because he feels bypassed. Juno feels misunderstood because he just wanted to help and use the money for college, which he desperately wants to attend to escape the family business. The argument escalates and it gets physical. Jack, pushed to his breaking point by James's accusations that he's just a tourist in their misery, shoves James. James goes flying backward and smashes into the glass sushi display case. It is a shocking, violent moment. The glass shatters everywhere. Blood, shards, screaming. It's the physical manifestation of how broken this family is. Appa, heartbroken and exhausted, just walks out. The party disperses in shame. James and Jack are left alone in the wreckage, sweeping up glass. And in the quiet aftermath of the violence, the real truth finally comes out. James reveals why the restaurant is in such financial trouble. It's not just the pandemic, it's that Appa got COVID. Badly. While Jack was in his coma, Appa was intubated in the same hospital, one floor down. He nearly died. He survived, but he lost his sense of taste and smell for a long time, and the business tanked. They kept it a secret from Jack to protect him, but it's been eating them alive. This revelation shatters Jack more than the car accident ever did. He realizes his family has been drowning while he was obsessing over his own lost time. He feels incredibly selfish. Desperate for some kind of grounding, he makes James drive him into the city to see Ren. It's the middle of the night. He knocks on Ren's door. Ren answers, looking older, tired, but settled. It's not a romantic reunion. It's a tragedy. They sit in Ren's nice apartment, and Jack asks the question that has been haunting him. What happened that night in the car? Ren tells him. They were at a cabin. Jack went to get milk. He never came back. There was no mysterious cause, no other car, no deer. Jack just drove off the road. Ren has lived with the guilt and the mystery for 2 years. Jack realizes there is no satisfying answer. He didn't crash on purpose, but he can't undo it. He sees his old shoe rack in Ren's hallway, a piece of furniture they built together, and realizes his life there has been absorbed into Ren's new life. He has to let go. It's a brutal, beautiful scene of closure that leaves you sobbing. Jack leaves Ren's apartment at dawn, emotionally raw. Then he remembers Emile has a huge interview at a theater in the West Village that morning. Jack promised to be there. He realizes he's running late. He literally sprints through Manhattan, 40 blocks, desperate to do one thing right. He finds Emil sitting at a bus stop outside the theater. Emil didn't go in. He panicked. He felt like a fraud. When Jack runs up, panting and manic, trying to explain about Ren and the fight, Emil shuts down. He's hurt that Jack chose his past, Ren, over his present Emil on such a big day. Emil gets on a bus and leaves Jack standing on the sidewalk. It feels like the end. Jack walks all the way back to New Jersey. He goes home to find Appa sitting in the kitchen, defeated. They finally have the conversation they've needed to have for years. Appa admits he's tired. He admits he wants to retire. He admits that he was waiting for Jack to come back, not because he wanted to trap him, but because he needed him. Jack realizes that he doesn't have to be the Jack Jr. who ran away anymore. He can choose to stay. He embraces his father, and they both cry, ugly, messy tears of release. We jump forward 23 months. The tone shifts. It's lighter. Jack is running the kitchen at Joha. The restaurant has been renovated, thanks to Jack cashing out his 401k, not the donation money, which they put into a trust for Juno's college. Juno's at Fordham University, living his best life. Zeno is working the sushi bar like a pro. The vibe is bustling and happy. Then the door opens. It's Emile. He's back. He hasn't been around for a long time. There's a cautious, hopeful energy between them. Emil reveals he applied to the theater program again and got in. He's been reading scripts and loving it. He's happy. Jack makes him an omakase dinner, pouring all his love and skill into the food. It's intimate and sensual in the way only food can be. They talk easy and familiar. Emile admits he missed Jack. Jack admits he's staying for good. They eat a pink taeok dessert together, and when the night ends, they walk out into the cold air. Emil heads to the bus stop, but this time it feels different. Jack watches him go, and then realizing he can't let this guy get on a bus and leave his life again, he starts running after him. The movie ends right there. Jack sprinting toward the bus, finally chasing the future instead of the past. It is such a satisfying conclusion to a story about grief, memory, and the weird, messy ways we put our lives back together. It leaves you with this lingering question. Can you ever really go back to who you were? Or is the only option to build something entirely new from the wreckage? It's a stunning reminder that sometimes waking up is the hardest part. If you love stories that mix deep family drama with sharp humor and a lot of food porn, you have to check this one out. Let me know in the comments, would you have forgiven Ren for moving on? And smash that like button if you're rooting for Jack and Emil.